gentlemen, good afternoon. It's good to be here. So let me just give you a different angle to add to what my colleagues have said before. I would argue that when we talk about Rail Baltic, we really need to talk about the cities it connects. And what do I mean by that? Well, let me quote from Italo Calvino, who is one of my favorite visionary authors, that cities, like dreams, are made of desires and fears. Even if the thread of their discourse is secret, their rules are absurd, their perspectives deceitful, and everything conceals something else. Well, cities are complex animals, so to speak, but still I would say that's the cities that we have to look at. And what can we tell about the Baltic cities? Well, for one thing, the Baltic states, they are quite urbanized. So especially Estonia and Latvia, they're really dominated by their capital cities. As you can see, in Estonia, 34% of the population are in Tallinn city, and in Latvia, it's 36%. So it's slightly different population pattern in Lithuania. Still, the two capitals, so to speak, are quite important in Lithuania as well. And the economy in the Baltic states as well is concentrated in the metropolitan areas. So this is a sort of PPP adjusted GDP per employed person, according to Nordregio maps. And as we see, the Harju County and the Vilnius County in Lithuania and the city of Riga, that's where the economy is most productive, adjusted for the cost of living and so on. So we can make the statement that cities are economically dominant. However, the Baltic states still are in a not so great employment situation, especially Lithuania and Latvia. And I'm afraid to say there's still depopulation, which is emptying out our regions on quite kind of alarming scale. If you look at these dark colors in parts of Lithuania and Latvia, it's really quite a kind of catastrophic emptying of some regions beyond the capital regions. And yet the people who have not left the country, what they're doing, they're moving out of the capital into the suburbs. So there's a donut pattern of suburbanization, which we see also in Poland, by the way, that people are not, if they haven't left the country yet, then they're leaving the capital city, which sort of implies that the capital cities are not so competitive as the places to live. And in terms of innovation indicators, the most recent innovation scoreboard says that Baltics are kind of moderate innovators, although the neighboring regions like South Finland, Uusimaa, it's in the green, so it's in the top category of innovators. So we still have a lot to catch up with. Well, we can always say that some regions are doing worse than us. So, and R&D expenditure is also, we're lagging behind. Again, sort of the regions from where and to where we will be traveling by Rail Baltica, they are much more intensive in terms of this knowledge economy. And the quality of living, it's also sort of middling. In Estonia, slightly better. In Latvia and Lithuania, slightly weaker, according to the Netherlands Environmental Assessment Agency. So they have done the study for Europe, and again, we still have somewhere to catch up with. And these are some of the indicators that these scientists are using. And the regional quality of living, that's really one of the factors which decides if we are a mobile knowledge worker, where we want to move, where we want to live. So these are all the, education, health, recreation, social environment that decides where we want to live. And I would also make the argument that the innovation potential is somehow hindered by lack of affordable connectivity. Although, we don't have the solid proof, but still there's something to it that makes sense. As we can see, some Baltic cities are slightly better connected, but overall it's about the affordable connectivity, not just any connectivity. So the Baltic capitals are connected affordably by bus lines. But as we know, it really takes a long time, and it's not a real business trip to go to Tallinn 4 hours by bus and then take the same trip back. It doesn't make for a day trip. So this is not really an option. It is some kind of solution if you want to work on the way or something, but still it's not quite it. Even though by air the Baltics are quite well connected, by road it's already more difficult, and of course by rail they're really quite weakly connected. And what this produces is really a lack of options in work and leisure. So again, according to a Nordregio map, if we sort of map out the number of cities that are reachable within a 60-minute drive, I believe, there's not so many cities that you can reach in the Baltics. And in some parts, you don't reach any cities. You drive for an hour, still there's no city. So the best places are apparently in the South Poland regions. In Schleswig-Holstein, in Denmark, you have some choices. And in the Baltics, you are, just you have the same one option. And in fact, the knowledge economy lives in the cities, and this is evidenced by the number of people with tertiary, with university education. They tend to concentrate in these metropolitan areas in the Baltics, and the knowledge economy is connected. So this is an example from Amsterdam, where they did an exercise mapping sort of the connection with top research partners of researchers who are working in Amsterdam, and this is what they get. And the point is that you have to be accessible, you have to be able to reach your partners quickly and efficiently to collaborate. And of course, they make the argument why Amsterdam is a great place to be. Might be so. Yeah. So, but also in the Baltics, there are some knowledge places emerging, and this is the arena where knowledge economy plays out. So places like the University Campus, this is a plan for Riga Technical University Campus. Actually, part of it is existing and part of it projected. There's the academic library, the co-working space, the coffee shop. So, and you can go on, there's all these typologies where the knowledge economy takes place, and you need all of them, and you need variety, and that's a kind of quality of a city that you have these sort of places. So where does it lead us? Well, the university is not what it used to be, and the university and the city, they can be in a synergy, they can be playing together to each other's advantage, and this is a model from a Dutch researcher Willem van Winden, who has really come up with 5 areas where the city and the university can cooperate for each other's benefit, where there are synergetic benefits, and they call it Symphony for Progress. So, and what could Rail Baltica do here? Well, with all the things we heard today, we could talk about a new lifestyle of knowledge workers enabled by Rail Baltica, where multimodality enables flexibility. And basically, you have more options and more combinations. Of course, we're quite well connected by air as it is, but if you add rail, automobile, public transport, bicycle, and walking, then you have a number of possibilities of combinations. So your range of options to reach point B from point A is greatly expanded, and your experience as a human is as well. And could there be this continuous city enabled by Rail Baltica? Well, it's a kind of fantasy, of course. It's a mental sort of model. So this map, again from Nordregio, it shows the daily accessibility of jobs, and we see that the jobs are really, again, concentrated around the metropolitan areas. So what happens if we connect these metropolitan areas? Well, you are sort of doubling and tripling the number of possible jobs, and this sort of commuting pattern could indeed emerge. And if we make a mathematical sum of the populations, then If we add up all the 4 Baltic metropolises, well, we are bigger than Warsaw, and we are similar, maybe half of Berlin's population. But of course, it's not a real city. Maybe it's a city of possibility. And how does this physical connectedness blend with digital connectedness blend with physical co-presence? And what would it even mean by 2035, when I'm sure we will have all kinds of new gadgets and technologies? Well, still, I believe it's all about the same basic ingredients. You have landscape, cityscape, mediascape, trainscape, which sum up to produce the traveler's experience. Still, even in the knowledge economy, especially the personal contact is key. You need to meet your partners to work together. And with this Rail Baltica connection, there could emerge this serendipity of unplanned meetings at high speed. Even the train could be the space of meetings between colleagues who work in different Baltic states, and your time in transit is more productive in the end. So, and the picture is Białystok train station, which will be on our way, of course. And what are the needs of these future knowledge travelers? And how can we translate them into this future passenger experience design? Well, we have to work with them. We have to ask. So here's a quote from a case in Thailand when they started planning for the needs of passengers for the high-speed train, which is yet to be built. And basically, Mr. Pansak, the chief advisor to Prime Minister of Thailand, says that architecture and engineering are useless without service design. So if we are not planning for what kind of services we will make with this infrastructure, we might as well just give it up. And how can we plan? We can plan for them. We can make this beautiful plan. As Riga City Development Department has produced, there will be a multimodal hub in Riga. Let's discuss it. Or we can plan with them. And who are them? Well, them, it's us, really, with the stakeholders, the citizens who will be using this rail line and this infrastructure and multimodal hub. And what I'm really hoping for is an emerging infrastructure of civilization, seamlessness and simplicity in transit, in transport from point to point. And hopefully Rail Baltica can lead the way in being a leader in customer service, and the train station can be a beginning of a smooth journey from there onwards by other means of transport. And the next order of the day for our planners is really these sort of lateral connections from Rail Baltica. How do we expand the range of Rail Baltica and the catchment and so on? Yeah, that, because otherwise the distances from Rail Baltica will grow only greater, and the whole country will reorient sort of from north to south, and we don't really want that. So how can we bring this future closer? Well, by exploring, discussing, and imagining today. And this image is actually not from the future, but from the past. Some 12 years ago, I was taking a workshop in Breda in the Netherlands, which was about high-speed train and how it would affect Breda. And part of this exploration, we took a bicycle trip through Breda and kind of learned the place and learned how the high speed can coexist with slow speeds, and what can the city do to accommodate these high-speed travelers, and how to make this beneficial actually for the local economy and for the local citizens and so on. And finally, a bit of advertising. Some of these issues of knowledge economy will be discussed at Livable City Forum Riga and Schmeling Conference, which is to take place on the 5th and 6th October 2017 in Riga. If you're interested, check it out. Yep, thank you.